All right, everyone, buckle up because we're diving head first into the electric revolution that's happening in India right now. Ola Electric, the ones making those super cool electric scooters you've probably seen zipping around, they just went public and dropped their Q2 FY25 financials. And I know you're all dying to know how they're doing. So you've come to the right place because we're going to break it all down for you today. We've got all the goods, their official report, the auditor's thumbs up, and even a shareholder letter that's packed with insights.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating time to be following Ola Electric. And with these sources, we have the whole picture, the raw numbers, the expert verification, and even their strategic vision.
Okay, so before we get into it, let's make sure we're all starting on the same page. We're looking at Ola Electric's performance between July and September 2024. And the auditor, kind of like a referee, making sure everything's fair and square, gave these financials a big old green light. They call it an unmodified opinion, but basically means we can trust these numbers like a well-oiled machine.
Right, exactly. That unmodified opinion is a huge signal for investors. And for us, it means we can really dive into these numbers knowing they've been thoroughly checked.
Perfect. So let's pop the hood and see what's powering this EV engine. Revenue is up a crazy 38.5% compared to last year. That's some serious growth. But here's the kicker. They're still reporting a loss. How is that even possible with revenue going through the roof like that?
Well, to understand that, you got to look at how Ola's business is structured. Think of it like they have two separate garages, one for automotive and one for sell. The automotive garage is where the action is right now. Scooters and motorcycles are flying off the assembly line and driving that revenue surge.
So that's where the money's coming from right now. Makes sense with their reputation for those awesome scooters. But what about that cell garage? What are they building in there? Some futuristic flying cars.
Not flying cars just yet, but you're on the right track. The Cell Garage is all about battery manufacturing. It's their long-term game plan. It's a big investment that's not making money yet, but it's the key to their future. They're thinking long-term, aiming to control the entire process from battery to bike.
Okay, so that explains the loss.
Yeah.
They're putting a lot of resources into this battery venture, which makes sense given how crucial batteries are in the EV world. But while they're building for the future, they're also crushing it right now. They're claiming a massive 33% market share in India's electric vehicle market. It's like owning a third of the entire racetrack. How do they manage to pull that off?
It's definitely not just a look. A 33% market share is huge, especially in a market as dynamic as India's. We need to dig a little deeper to understand what's driving this dominance. Is it their pricing, their brand image, maybe their appeal to young tech-savvy riders? Or perhaps government incentives are playing a role? There's a lot to unpack to understand the recipe for their success.
Yeah, for sure. And how are their competitors reacting to this? Are they stepping up their game to catch up or taking a completely different approach?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely explore further as we dive into the competitive landscape. But one thing's for sure, Ola's not slowing down. They're aiming to expand their network from 782 to a whopping 2,000 stores by March 2025.
Wow, 2,000 stores. That's some serious ambition. It's like they're trying to be on every street corner. But their strategy goes beyond just physical stores, right? Their shareholder letter hinted at some even bigger moves.
Oh, absolutely. That shareholder letter is like a sneak peek into their playbook. And what it reveals is a strategy all about speed, agility, and a relentless pursuit of growth.
All right, hit me with the highlights. What's got them so fired up?
Get ready for a product explosion. Ola is planning to launch 20 new products over the next 2 years. And get this, they're not just sticking to scooters. They're entering the motorcycle market. Imagine Ola electric motorcycles cruising the streets.
Whoa, motorcycles. Now that's a power move. They're clearly not afraid to branch out and take on new challenges. But it sounds like they're trying to be everywhere at once. How can they possibly handle such rapid growth?
Well, that's where their network partner program comes in. Think of it like a team of skilled mechanics spread across the country, all working together to keep Ola's engine running smoothly. They already have over 1,000 partners and are aiming for a massive 10,000 by the end of 2025. It's a smart way to scale up their operations without having to build all those stores themselves.
Ah, so it's like a franchise model, but for service and distribution. That's pretty clever. It lets them focus on what they do best, building awesome EVs.
Yeah.
But there's more to their success than just expansion and partnerships, right? They're also known for their cutting-edge technology.
You're absolutely right. They're not just assembling vehicles, they're pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the EV world.
All right, let's talk tech. What's under the hood that makes these EVs so special?
Well, they have these platforms called Gen 2 and Gen 3. Gen 2, which launched back in August 2023, already helped them reduce production costs by a significant 22.5%. Imagine being able to build a scooter for almost a quarter less than before. That's what Gen 2 achieved.
That's incredible. They're making EVs more affordable and accessible, but what about Gen 3? What kind of magic are they cooking up for that platform?
Hold on tight, because Gen 3, set to launch in January 2025, promises even more cost savings, an additional 20%. They're also talking about major performance enhancements. Think faster acceleration, longer range, and a smoother ride.
Okay, now we're talking cost savings and performance boosts. That's a winning combination. But what exactly makes these platforms so efficient and advanced? What's their secret sauce?
It all comes down to vertical integration, especially with their battery manufacturing. Instead of relying on other companies for batteries, Ola wants to build their own. It's like baking your own cake instead of buying one from the store. You control the ingredients, the process, and the quality.
So they're not just building scooters and motorcycles, they're building the heart of those vehicles, the batteries. That's a bold move, but it makes sense. They're taking control of their destiny.
Exactly. Vertical integration is a major strategic play. It could give them a huge cost advantage over competitors who have to rely on external suppliers for their batteries. Plus, it allows them to innovate and push battery technology further, potentially creating even better, more efficient batteries.
Okay, so we've seen impressive revenue growth, ambitious expansion plans, and a dedication to cutting-edge technology. But let's address the elephant in the room, profitability. All this growth is great, but will it actually translate into profits?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Their shareholder letter outlines a path towards a 30% gross margin in the future, which is impressive.
30%, that's a big jump from their current 20.6% gross margin. What needs to happen for them to reach that goal?
Well, there are a few key factors to consider.
I'm all ears.
What?
Standing between Ola and profitability.
First, those new product launches, especially those motorcycles, need to be a hit. They need to capture the imagination of consumers and turn into solid sales.
So successful product launches are crucial. What else is on the checklist?
Execution is key. Their ambitious expansion plans with those 2,000 stores and 10,000 network partners need to be implemented flawlessly.
Right. They can't just open stores. They need to make sure those stores are running well and those partners are providing top-notch service. Makes sense. What else?
The overall growth of the EV market in India is a wild card. Ola is betting big on the continued adoption of electric vehicles. If the market grows as they predict, they'll be in a prime position to capitalize on that growth.
So they're not just racing against their competitors, they're also racing against the clock to establish themselves as the leader before the EV market explodes.
Precisely. It's a high-stakes game, and Ola is playing to win.
So welcome back to our deep dive into Ola Electric. We've just gone over their financials, their big plans, and their love of tech. But they're not racing on an empty track here, right? To really see how Ola stacks up, we need to see who else is in this EV Grand Prix. What's the competition looking like in India?
Oh, it's a packed field, and it's getting exciting. You've got your veterans like Tata Motors and Mahindra. Those guys are shifting gears from traditional vehicles to electric. And then there are the newcomers like Ather Energy. They're known for those premium tech-heavy scooters. And Okinawa, they're trying to make EVs more affordable for everyday commuters.
Wow. So it's a real mix of the big players and the up-and-comers. So how are they all approaching this race? Are they all going after the same customer, or are they finding their own niches?
That's where the strategies get really interesting. Tata Motors is playing the name recognition game. They're leveraging their existing network to get those EVs into every showroom. Then you've got Ather. They're targeting a different crowd. They want the people who are all about the latest tech and are willing to pay a little extra for it. And Okinawa, their focus is on making EVs a realistic option for the average commuter.
So lots of variety, which is great for the people buying these vehicles. More choices, more competition. It pushes everyone to innovate and make better products. But where does this leave Ola? They've got to stay ahead of the curve, right?
Absolutely. Complacency will kill you in this market. Their aggressive expansion, their vertical integration strategy, and now they're jumping to motorcycles. All of that shows they know the competition is right there on their tail.
Speaking of motorcycles, that's a smart move, isn't it? Motorcycles are everywhere in India. If they can win over motorcycle enthusiasts, that could be huge for them.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It's a huge market. And if they can repeat the success they've had with scooters, the sky's the limit. But it's not going to be easy. The motorcycle market is tough, lots of established brands with loyal customers. Ola's going to have to prove they can deliver the performance, the style, and the reliability that motorcycle riders demand.
So it's like they're entering a whole new arena. They need to learn the ropes, master the game, and win over the fans. But it's not just competition from inside India, is it?
Nope. This is a global race, and there are some heavy hitters on the track. Tesla, BYD, Volkswagen, those global giants are all vying for EV supremacy.
So Ola's got to keep an eye on the local rivals, A&D, the global players. That's a lot to handle.
It is. But this global context is crucial to understanding Ola's ambitions. They've made it clear they're not just thinking about India anymore. Their expansion into Nepal, that's just a taste of what's to come.
So they're going from local hero to global contender. But how can they compete with those giants?
That's where their vertical integration strategy could be their secret weapon, especially their battery production. By controlling their own battery supply, they can potentially make their EVs more affordable, not just in India, but globally.
It's like having home field advantage.
Mhm.
They're playing on their own turf, using their knowledge of the Indian market and their innovative spirit to challenge the big guys. But even with the best strategy, there are always bumps in the road. What are some of the roadblocks Ola might face?
Infrastructure. That's a big one. While India is making progress on its EV charging network, it's still a work in progress. Imagine running out of juice in the middle of nowhere. Not a good time. Ola is trying to address this with their own charging network and partnerships, but it's going to take a joint effort from the government, private companies, and consumers to really solve it.
Yeah, it's like building a highway for a whole new generation of vehicles.
Yeah.
You need the roads. The rest stops the whole ecosystem to support those journeys. What else is keeping Ola up at night?
Battery technology. It's evolving at lightning speed. While Ola's Gen 3 platform and their in-house cell production are impressive, they can't afford to fall behind.
So they can't just sit back and relax. They need to constantly be pushing the limits, researching new materials, improving efficiency, and making those batteries safer and more powerful.
You got it. Range anxiety, charging time, battery life, and safety, those are all crucial factors that can make or break EV adoption. Ola has to be relentless in their pursuit of better battery tech.
It's like a race within a race. They're trying to win the EV market while pushing the boundaries of battery tech at the same time. Talk about a challenge. But it's not all about the technology, is it? There are other forces at play that can affect their success.
For sure, government policies and regulations play a huge role. The Indian government has been supportive of EVs with incentives and subsidies, but policies can change, support can disappear, and new regulations can pop up. Ola has to be adaptable and politically savvy to navigate this ever-changing landscape.
It's like playing a game where the rules can change at any moment. They have to be agile and anticipate the moves and adapt their strategy on the fly.
And don't forget about the internal challenges. Scaling up operations, effectively managing a growing workforce, and maintaining that innovative spark, these are all hurdles Ola needs to overcome.
Yeah, it's like going from a garage startup to a global corporation. They need to build a strong foundation, a solid team, and a culture that encourages innovation if they want to reach their full potential. And going global adds another layer of complexity, right?
Absolutely. Each country has its own cultural quirks, market dynamics, and regulatory frameworks. It's a whole new ballgame. Ola needs to be prepared for the challenges and adapt their strategies to succeed in different markets.
So it's not just about building a great product, it's about understanding the world they're selling it to. They need to be culturally sensitive, politically aware, and strategically flexible to win this global race. We've seen the opportunities, the challenges, the competitive landscape. It's a lot to process.
It is, but this is where it all comes together. Ola's story is more than just a business case study. It reflects a much larger shift happening in the world, the transition to a more sustainable future.
So what does all of this mean for the average person? Why should our listener, who might never even buy an Ola scooter, care about this story?
That's the question we're going to tackle head-on in the final part of our deep dive. We'll explore how Ola's journey could impact the future of transportation, not just in India, but globally.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've spent the last two parts really digging into Ola Electric's journey, their performance, their ambitious plans, and all the competition they're facing. But now in this final part, we're going beyond the numbers and the sales figures to answer that big question. So what?
Exactly. We've broken down the financials, the market, but what does Ola's story actually mean for you, the listener? Even if you never end up riding one of their scooters, this goes way beyond just one company.
Right. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture, the future of transportation. Ola's making a big bet on India becoming a global powerhouse for EVs. If they can pull it off, what kind of impact could we see?
Imagine a world where India, with its massive population and booming economy, is leading the way in EV adoption. That sends a powerful message to other developing nations. It shows them it's possible to leapfrog old technology and embrace a cleaner future.
It's like a ripple effect inspiring other countries to jump on board. And of course, we can't forget about the environmental impact. Transportation is a huge polluter, but if Ola's vision takes hold with millions of Indians switching from gas guzzlers to electric vehicles.
The air quality in those crowded cities could improve dramatically. We're talking about less carbon emissions, cleaner air to breathe a healthier planet for everyone. But it's not just about fixing the problems we've created.
It's about building something new and exciting. Think about all the jobs created in battery manufacturing, charging infrastructure, software development, all thanks to the EV boom that Ola's helping to create.
It's a chain reaction of opportunity. Ola's success could fuel economic growth, not just for the company, but for a whole ecosystem built around EVs in India. And that growth means better lives for millions of people.
It's like planting a seed that grows into a whole forest of possibilities. But Ola's not doing this alone. They need a supportive environment to make it happen, right?
Absolutely. Their success depends on continued government support for EVs, things like subsidies, infrastructure investment policies that make cleaner transportation a priority. And this raises an important question. How can governments around the world create the right conditions for companies like Ola to flourish? Because let's be honest, one company can't single-handedly solve climate change or transform an entire industry.
Right. It takes teamwork, a shared vision. Governments setting ambitious targets, providing incentives, cutting through red tape, that's what creates the space for innovation to thrive.
And that innovation can then help governments reach their own goals: cleaner air, less reliance on fossil fuels, a competitive edge in the global economy. It's a win-win when everyone's working together.
But let's be real, there are challenges ahead, right? We talked about the need for charging infrastructure, the rapid evolution of battery technology,
Yeah.
the possibility of policy changes. Any of these could throw a wrench in Ola's plans.
You're right. Those are real obstacles, and they highlight why this deep dive is so important. By understanding the complexities of Ola's journey, we become more informed citizens, better equipped to participate in the conversation about our transportation future. What kind of world do we want to live in?
Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about Ola. It's about all of us. Their success could be a sign of hope, proof that a sustainable future is within our grasp. But it's going to take a collective effort from companies, governments, and individuals to make that vision a reality.
As we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with this. Ola's story is still being written. The choices they make, the challenges they overcome, the impact they have, it's all unfolding as we speak. And in a way, it's a reflection of our own choices, our hopes and concerns about the future.
So, what will your role be in this unfolding story? That's the question we encourage you to think about. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.